Um, let's start out pretty general, I think, and then I think we can dive into MSU's draw and all of that. But where are we at with this team? Just on the team level, forget the draw for a second. Um, what's the confidence level going into the tournament? What's your feelings about this team? Where do we stand?
To me, this is just like this is just your classic Tom Izzo team. Like, not the best, not the worst, probably on the better side. Losing our last two games really is annoying. Just seeing how we played against UCLA really was really just not cool. But again, like I just feel like sometimes those are just kind of Izzo treats those as practice games unless you make the title game. Like I'm not too worried about it. I think this team can make a run. I think they're one of the 10 to 12 best teams in the country. I don't think a national title is possible. I get a couple lucky breaks. Final Four could happen.
Yeah. I mean, if national title was possible, we're probably getting past that UCLA game, and we didn't. So, yeah, if we play like that, we won't get out of the first weekend. But I mean, it's an Izzo team, and the way he gets that team prepared every March, and the success rate that he has in the first weekend, I think, will kind of get us over that. I'm not too worried about the beginning stages of it, but once we get a little bit deeper into the tournament, it's going to get really hard, especially when you shoot the ball or when you shoot the three like we do. It's not that great.
Yeah, it's not reliable. I agree with that.
Got to defend too.
I'm with you both. I think the UCLA game definitely created some doubts, and I don't love to put too much weight in one game. But I thought they were outcoached in that one, which doesn't happen very often. But they could not stop that pick, and I don't know if whatever situation they had going with screens offensively for UCLA, Michigan State could not stop it. There were shooters wide open in the corner all night. Couldn't really buy a stop when they needed one right up until the end. If it weren't for that game, I would probably have a bit of a higher confidence level. And now, I don't care that we lost the first game of the Big Ten tournament. I care how we looked. I don't think we looked great. I've said it on Twitter. I said I would much rather win a Tuesday night game in Piscataway, New Jersey against Rutgers in mid-February than I would win the Big Ten tournament. I really do not care about winning the Big Ten tournament. I think the Big Ten tournament means absolutely nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and cry that we lost the first game of our first game of the Big Ten tournament in the quarterfinals. We had a triple bye. But I am upset of how they looked. They came out not ready to play. By the time they decided to play, it was too late. And defensively, they just looked all out of sorts. And there was plenty of time to get it right, and they didn't. I mean, even down the stretch, they just kept leaving guys wide open. Whether it was over-rotating or just too much, I don't know what it was, but guys were just wide open for three. And look, that Dent, I think his name is, from UCLA, he played awesome. He played a fantastic game. He could not miss. I don't know. It was tough to watch, but I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. But it was definitely a game that played some doubts in your head.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am on it. I mean, I hated how we looked in that game. Absolutely hated it.
Yeah. But again, we win Thursday, and then I don't care.
Everything goes away. Yeah.
Everyone forgot.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, but I think to a certain extent, I think if MSU wins that game, I don't know exactly. I think Purdue winning the Big Ten tournament championship probably puts them at a 2 seed no matter what. But Michigan State winning that game versus losing that game, that might have been the difference between the 2 or 3 seed.
Yeah, and Purdue's path is definitely something I like a lot more.
Right. All right. So let's talk about MSU's draw a little bit. I think a very interesting East bracket that they got put into. I like to think there's not that much funny business that the committee does here. But when you look at this region, it's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Duke is the one, and they're Duke, and John Shire is obviously not a Hall of Fame coach yet, but I think he's probably trending that way. I mean, he's done some great things. I won't even talk about Ohio State and their guard, but that's an 8 seed that they may potentially deal with. St. John's, Hall of Fame coach Rick Pitino, they just won the Big East. They're on fire. Kansas, another Hall of Fame coach, Bill Self. Louisville, okay. I mean, in years past, they've obviously been great with a different coach. UCLA, Mick Cronin, that's a huge name in college basketball right now.
They're streaking right now, too.
Yeah. And then UConn, basically a Hall of Fame coach waiting to happen there, and Bobby Hurley. Or not Bobby Hurley, Dan Hurley. Just an interesting draw how the committee wants to put basically 5 Hall of Fame coaches or five really big schools in the top 5 seeds there.
There are like 70 Final Fours between them or something.
Yeah, ridiculous. I said borderline bad behavior.
28 national championships, I think it was too, and it's like 6 or 7 of the top 14 teams in the country in the last poll.
Absurd.
It's like,
I mean, what are we doing?
Kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, look, I had a feeling we were going to be in Duke's bracket, whether we were 1 or 2. I honestly did. But it's just like there's this weird fetish with the committee to put us and Duke together. But then you get surrounded by these other teams. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember a time where we had a draw after the first round that was so not necessarily difficult, but just like loaded.
Yeah.
So weird. Like, I mean, and a lot of people think USF could win that Louisville game too, especially Louisville.
Watch out for USF.
Yeah, Louisville. Well, Louisville's going to be might be missing their best player too, Michael Brown Jr. So we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, it gets tough almost immediately. And then, you're looking at, like you said, all those Hall of Fame coaches. I'm pretty sure all of them have championships.
Yeah.
So they've all been successful in March, just like Izzo has. So it's almost like a Champions League type of thing.
Yeah. One positive, we are not on the Friday games.
That's true. That's good for us.
I think, what were we, like 0 for 4 on Fridays this year or something like that?
Yeah. What I don't like, what this version of the committee did is all of a sudden Big Ten tournament means everything. I think if you look back at 2016, I believe was the year, Michigan State won the Big Ten tournament, which probably should have been a 1 seed based on the tournament, winning the regular season and then winning the tournament. They probably had an argument for the 1 seed. Got a 2 seed.
Yep.
They had to play Middle Tennessee State. We all know how that went. This year, Purdue was falling off a crater. I mean, they lost 4 in a row towards the end of the season. And then they go on a nice run to win the Big Ten. And they get bumped from I think all the way from a 4 to a 2. So I don't like the inconsistency of some years the Big Ten tournament matters, some years it doesn't. I'm not complaining about how it played out this year, just because I don't want to sound like a Michigan State slappy where, this affected us poorly, now I'm mad at it. I just want consistency. Mm-hmm. I want if the Big Ten tournament matters, make it matter every year. Yeah. If it doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter any year.
Yeah, I think they did that with a couple conferences this year. I mean, they made the SEC tournament matter for sure.
Yeah. It should matter. Like, in theory, it should matter, but like you can't just have it matter. Like, okay,
sometimes, yeah,
like matter when it feels like it.
Yeah,
got to be consistent, like you're saying.
Yeah. So, how are you guys feeling about the draw? Because I think knee-jerk reaction, I was a little didn't love it. I'm not going to be like, oh, we're in Duke's bracket. Look, I wouldn't want to play any of those 1 seeds to begin with, so I'm not going to complain that it's Duke. Having said that, I looked at it and I said, I don't like this draw. There's a lot of good teams there. But then some of the other Spartans I talked to were not they were not as down on it as I was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it, and I don't have any problem with the first 2 rounds. I think those are okay. And then what scares me is possibly running into UCLA again in that Sweet 16 game after that last game. Obviously, Izzo isn't going to be happy with what, and the rest of the team's not going to be happy with how things turned out, and they're probably going to find some way to turn it around to play the way they did against UCLA the first time. But since the last time we played UCLA, since the first time we played them, they've won like 6 of their last 8 games and beat 3 top 10 teams, including us. So they really found something and they're on a roll. So that's one scary part of that tournament path there. And then you look at, I mean, I don't think Kansas really scares me much, but we've seen we can compete with Duke, and they don't have their point guard now.
Yeah.
But that St. John's team is a little frightening at the top there with because they run through their front court.
Johnny's
UConn,
yeah.
UConn, I would say, is a scary.
Well, yeah, but if UCLA knocks off UConn, then we don't have to worry about it. That's
I would love that.
One. Yeah. So yeah, UConn, the way they've been talking about UConn is like they're not the UConn of 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Or
I think the way they've been talking about is not even the UConn that we played early on.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're not the UConn that we played on UConn Plus 6 months ago, whatever it was.
I totally forgot that happened.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean everybody's nationally down on UConn, and I haven't watched enough of UConn, but I mean, yeah, they are a number 2 seed. But having said that, like, and maybe it's just being a little too high on UCLA. I think that's probably the most likely 7-2 upset that there is out there.
We'll get there, but I think that's recency bias. I'm pretty confident.
That's how this works, Mickey. You get on a roll and you start rolling through March.
What do you think about the draw, Nick?
I think it's pretty. There's never an easy draw. Like, there really is never an easy draw unless the lower seeds win. I don't know enough about North Dakota State. I certainly didn't play anyone. I'm not too scared about that. If we lose that, you might never hear from us again. Who knows? Like,
end of show.
Yeah,
that's a wrap. But and then Louisville, I think the name scares me more than I don't know. I just don't know much about them. I remember they were ranked pretty high early in the year, and I did see that, like, you know how they have that like bit of you need to have a top 25 offensive and defensive efficiency to win a national title. Louisville is one of those teams. We are too, but sucks getting that in an earlier round. So I mean, they play well. We could be boned. And just, I mean, UConn. I'm scared of UConn. Dan Hurley's won 2 out of the last 3 national titles. Like, that scares me.
That's pretty reasonable.
I'd be scared if we end up having to play him.
UCLA, I think we can. I'm really just scared of UConn and Duke at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the first weekend.
The Sweet 16 and beyond.
Yeah, I think, look, I mean, I think, like Nick said, I mean, there's really no such thing as an easy draw. If I look at some of the other draws, I mean, the Midwest bracket is not too difficult.
Arizona got an easy one too.
Yeah, so there are better draws than others. I don't really know what the committee was trying to get at here. I'd like to think there's not funny business going on with like ratings and things like that, but you look at some of the teams in this bracket and you think, well, someone wanted something on some night at this time. Mm-hmm. But look, I think Michigan State, they play their game and they should be in the second weekend pretty easily. I think, look, UCLA, that's a team I would like to have another crack at. We came out sleepwalking in the first half. We lost by a couple of points. Didn't particularly shoot the ball well. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's not the easiest of draws I've seen for Michigan State, but it's not the worst of draws either. I think one thing Tom Izzo talked about that I didn't really think about is a lot of familiarity in the teams that they would play. They played UConn, they played Duke, they played UCLA twice. Do you guys put any weight into that in terms of?
Yeah, and it's. I think there's even more weight if you played them twice because it's harder to beat. If you've beaten a team twice, because it's harder to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not how that one shook out, but yeah, I definitely the familiarity definitely helps, especially because you know what playing style they've got. You've already tried something and you know what has worked against them and what hasn't worked against them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would put a lot of stock in that.
Yeah. It also just makes game planning a lot easier.
Yeah. But also, I mean, as far as the draw, to go far in March, you have to beat good teams anyway. So,
no question. I think that's the best point is that no matter where you're going to play and what teams line up, is you're gonna have to beat a good team eventually.
If you lose in the first 2 rounds, you just deserve it. Like,
yeah.
There's really
you either didn't show up, didn't prepare, or aren't that good.
That's
like
probably a good
it'll
way to
be
look at it.
disappointing if we get out in the second round, or even the first round. I'll be so pissed. But like if we lose in the round of 32, it's just like whatever. Like
you say that now, but we're gonna be at the Loon on Saturday. Just like, oh,
okay, that's very true. But I'm saying like, in like memory, like they're like this team. I'm not expecting too much out of them. I'm expecting a second weekend, but like I would just say this is a team that fell short, but wasn't anything too crazy.
Yeah. Gun to your head. What do you think? Second weekend, Elite 8 loss.
Sweet 16 loss.
What's going to make you upset? What would make you upset? First weekend loss?
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm going to be upset. Like
you're right. That was a really poor way to ask that question.
Anyone has made on this show.
Point in the next 3 weeks. All right.
What's the floor? Sweet 16.
No, I mean I'll probably actually be pissed if we lose the second round.
We got to get out of the first weekend for me to not be totally bummed.
Like embarrassed.